Hey y'all, how you doing today? Well, I'm so excited to be with you today. I'm super excited. I don't know about you. I don't know how you're doing, but I know that everything is just fine. And today has been a very beautiful day. Today has been a beautiful day for me, for my family, for everyone. And I can say that it is good. It is lovely. When we had a podcast in the morning, I was kind of down. But now I'm elated and I'm here to share again. And today we have the part two of our story that we started some time ago. And life is always like that. We have our high times and we have our low times. And that is why it is called life. So you're welcome again to our podcast, Grief to Grace, the podcast where we share and we turn our pains into purpose and also turn our sorrows into joy. And in this, we are here all the time with on Grief to Grace. We help you to move from being stuck to being unstuck. And I'm your host, Ruth Hephzibah, and I'm so grateful to have you today on Grief to Grace. So, Grief to Grace, we are here all the time. And at Grief to Grace International, our mission is to create a space for raw, honest conversations about grief, healing, and finding grace in the midst of life's deepest challenges. And I'm always there to help you. I'm your guide, I'm your advocate when it comes to grief matters and your fresh start because I know that it is possible to have a fresh start, irrespective of where you've been in the past, irrespective of how your life has turned, irrespective of what people think about you. I tell you, you can definitely have a fresh start. And before we begin today, I just want to let you know that we have our book as usual. And this book is a pen that rewrites grief. So you can scan that code and it's definitely going to take you to how you can purchase it. And this is the only way you can really like support this program and keep it going. By getting a copy of this, we'll be able to help us in this journey. And I'm always excited about this season when it's Thanksgiving and holidays. I am super excited because it's time for to see, be thankful. It's time to share love with everyone. And I've been a beneficiary of how much people can share love in this season. And this year, we also helping, and that is it right there on at the top corner. You see help the grieving families. We have a lot of families who are grieving. I've been there. When you're grieving, most times you cannot think straight, you cannot do a lot of stuff, and you may not be able to get things right. And that is why today we're saying, please, in whatever way you can, it may not be so easy for everyone, but it is definitely something that is worth the while for you to be able to help. When you scan that code, it will take you to how you can help the grieving family. Also, you can support by sharing with us. You can call us on 346-242-8041, or you send an email to grief2gracenow@gmail.com, or to our website, Grief to Grace International, and send us a shoot and say, I want to support with grief cards. I want to support the family with turkey, with whatever you want to support with. It is something that people need in this season, and you cannot underestimate how much it is needed because most times they don't even know how to navigate it. Because it's mainly most time the first time some people are celebrating without their loved ones. This the first time some of them are celebrating we in their illnesses or whatever losses that they've been through. So they really don't know what to do. And that is why we're here to help and you here to support in whatever way that you can for the cancer patients with echoes of life or with grief to grace. I tell you, it is something that you just need to do in this season. And as you continue to do this, may the name of the Lord be praised and may you be richly blessed in Jesus' name. So before I bring my guest in, I would just want you to know that we love you and this is Grief to Grace. Ooh, so yes, we are here again. We are here again. We are here again. So just keep let us get seated because I'm going to forget I'm going to be listening to and he's definitely going to share because of the thank you for joining us once again. And today, like I said at the beginning, I have my guest, and you know her. She's been here before to share her story on medical, and now she is here again to share another part because she promised that she was going to come back, and she kept her promise. And she is Beth Brunk, and she is here to share her story on abusive marriage from pornography. So she's been through a lot, and in all that she went through, she also went through this. And I think this is one part that people need to understand. And also because a lot of people are in this and they don't know how to run out of it. And today I have Beth Brunk in the house, and she will be sharing her story on how she has been able to move from grief to grace, even amidst all that she went through. So, how are you, Brunk?
I'm doing good. Thank you,
Okay.
Ruth.
Thank you for coming back again. I know it was really not so easy to have you back with all of the technology stuff. These days it's really like difficult to get things done. And I just thank God I will be able to pull through. And now we have you in the house. So the next voice you'll definitely be hearing is going to be that of Beth, and she'll be sharing her story. Can you hear me, Beth?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so you can share your story.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were a little bit garbled, and so I wasn't sure what you said.
Oh, really? Okay, I said right now the next voice we'll be hearing is the voice of Beth, and she'll be sharing her story because she has a very awesome story and she wants to share how she was able to navigate it to the grace that she experiencing right now.
Okay, yes. The next voice you're hearing here is the voice of Beth. I am so sorry about that. Lots of technical difficulties this afternoon.
Yeah,
But we pushed through and we're here now.
that's
So,
it.
so I got married at age 20 to a man that had been raised in a conservative Christian home in the same fellowship that I grew up in. It's called Old Baptist Brethren Church, and they they're similar to Amish in dress or the conservative Mennonite. The women wear a covering and they wear cape dresses, and the men wear broad brimmed hats. The differences are that the Old Baptist drive cars, they have electricity, and I went to public school. So I was raised that. I have since left. I am no longer part of that church. Um, If the earrings, the hat, the jewelry didn't give it away, I just told you. So we got married, and I did not know when we got married that he was a pornography addict. I didn't know for several years that he was a pornography addict. There were some things that happened, like our wedding night was horrible. He did his thing, rolled over, went to sleep. Then on our honeymoon, he masturbated in front of me. And at the time, I didn't even know the word masturbation. I didn't know that what that word was, that word existed. I just knew how seeing him do that made me feel and how it affected me. Um, we'd been married about a month when he raped me for the first time, and he continued to rape me other times as well throughout the marriage. I endured religious abuse and spiritual abuse. He told me that I had no control over my own body because the Apostle Paul says in Corinthians that the wife does not control her body; the husband does. But what he forgot was that the husband's body belongs to the wife. But even so, he took those verses completely out of context and used them as coercion. And it wasn't until just a few years ago that I actually knew that marital rape, there was language for that, and that it was actually a thing. And I was a little bit shocked, and I was like, that's what's happened to me. So, um, over our 23-year marriage, we were married for 23 years. We were separated for 5 of those years. So I had to actually get the timeline straight in my head because in my head, like the marriage was over at 19 years. But according to man's laws, it wasn't over until this year when the divorce was finally final at the beginning of this year. Um, so not only was he sexually abusive to me, addicted to pornography, but he also was grooming our children. He, with our oldest daughter, he tested the waters to see how far he could go and what her reactions would be. With our 2 sons, I don't know what happened. They won't talk, but signs are there that something has happened with both of them. And with my youngest daughter, um, he was also grooming her. I don't know that he went as far with her as he did our oldest daughter. She's been very open about things and she's not said anything about that. So um, I don't know exactly how far he went with her. But I tell you all of that. And yes, that's a heavy topic. And yes, it caused a lot of pain. And I did end up being, diagnosed with post traumatic stress disorder from my marriage. I've done a lot of work. I've done EMDR therapy. I've done Splankna. I have done cognitive processing therapy. And I continue to do healing work myself every single day. And if you are in this place where you're in a marriage where you're being cheated on, my message to you today is you're not alone. There are way too many of us out here that have been in this position. And we don't often talk about it because there's a lot of shame surrounding it. I had to work through a lot of shame as from my marriage, and a lot of shame um, that I'm a failure as a mother because of the abuse and my daughter's death, which was the first part. that I was on here with before, because
Yeah.
of those things, I was in survival and I wasn't able to be present with my children the way I wanted to when they were young, especially my older children. My oldest daughter's 23, the oldest son is 18. And so I wasn't able to be present with them as they were growing up like I wanted to be. And there was a lot of shame um, because of that. Excuse me. And also because I was basically a married single mother. He didn't help so much with raising the children. And I didn't really want him to. I did. I needed the help, but he was abusive to them as well. And so while yes, I needed the help and I wanted the help, I also didn't because he would just get angry and be abusive to them. So when they acted up, I felt like a failure and I felt shame because I'm the one raising these children. So there was shame as a mother. There was also shame um, if I was married to someone who can look at pornography and do the things to me that he did and do the things to our daughter that he did, what does that say about me as a person? And so I had to deal with a lot of shame in that. And then I was taught that divorce is wrong. But here I find myself a divorced woman. And I've had to face shame for that. On both sides of my family, as far back as I know, there's not been any divorce. And so, like on my mother's side of the family, I'm the second one in this generation to be divorced. And I don't know that anybody before that has ever been divorced. Now, I do know that my great grandfather cheated on my great grandmother. He has a illegitimate son. So there's that in the family line, but they stayed married. They never got divorced. They never separated. Um, on my dad's side of the family, my dad has a brother who's divorced, and I'm again the third or fourth one to be divorced on that side. And I don't know back that there's any divorce in the family line. So there was a lot of shame that I also had to deal with because I'm going to get judged because I'm divorced and God hates divorce and you definitely don't get remarried, which I would like to get remarried. So I had to deal with a lot of shame knowing that I was going to get judged for being divorced. But I had to also recognize that these people aren't in my shoes. They're not in my arena. They don't know what I've dealt with. They don't know what I've lived through. And they are only applying their understanding, which is incorrect, of the Bible. Yes, God hates divorce because it's not his perfect plan for a family. But he also gave us a way out of divorce if there is abuse,
Yes.
if there is cheating, by giving us divorce. And Jesus, Yeshua, backs that up in the New Testament by saying that if you even look on a woman as a man to lust after her, you've already committed adultery in your heart. So it's very serious. And he gave allowance for divorce for abuse and for adultery, for cheating. So I would just like to let you know that you're not alone. And I would also like to let you know that there's hope after living through that. Um, my life, somebody just asked me this morning, so Beth, how are you doing after all of that? After you've lived through that and you've done healing, she's like, how are you really doing? And I'm like, oh, I have joy and I'm happy and I'm thriving and my life is abundant. So if you need some encouragement today and you're in similar circumstances, let me tell you that Jesus came to give you life abundant. And his life abundant is going to look different than the world's life abundant, right? Because he's so radically above and beyond anything that this world can offer us. So maybe your life won't be abundant in finances. Maybe it won't be abundant in a big, gorgeous house or a really fancy, nice car. But if your life is abundant in relationships and your life is abundant in your relationship with the Lord, your life is abundant. And those other things, they're just icing on the cake. So take heart and know that there is hope, there is healing, and there's life after being cheated on.
Hmm. Thank you so much for sharing because this is awesome. No woman or man, nobody deserves any cheating spouse. That's the truth.
No.
Nobody deserves it because when you do it, the other person may decide to just keep it, but it goes through a lot of pain, a lot of shame. And like you said, because that's also coming from where I come from, oh, she's divorced. Oh, she left her husband. Oh, the shame that goes with it, the shame that goes with the children, the shame that goes with the mother and whoever the partner that decides to leave and walk out of it most times is what even eats up in the relationship and makes a lot of people just stay back and they're like, no, I don't want to do this. But like you said, the Bible is very explicit about divorce. If there is cheating in any way, and initially I didn't really, until you shared your story, I really didn't understand that pornography, masturbating with yourself, is cheating on your wife. And a lot of people do this. I sat back, I was looking, I'm like, really, that's true. And a lot of men do this, a lot of women do this. They get a lot of stuff, toys, and all that to help and do. You cheating on your wife. You don't only need to go out and cheat on the other sex. No, if you do that, then you cheating on your partner. And it needs to actually, and also that parents go as far as sexually abusing their children. I've had a lot of experiences with that with my nonprofit that deals with children, advocacy for children. And I know that a lot of children cannot speak up for themselves because they are afraid, because of the shame, because of the things that goes along with it. I have a personal experience with that. So the time a child once, then I was still in Africa, she came and reported the incidents to me in my office. And this is what my dad does. The parents walked to my office with this child the day we were supposed to take the child at least for the advocacy and other stuff, and they came in with the child and intimidated that child that she has to say, no, I'm scared, I don't want to, no, it's not true, everything I wrote was a lie. And few months later, that late girl did a lot of other stuff because the pain was there, you know.
Mhm.
So whatever we're doing today to our children, doing today to our spouses, know that it is affecting them, affecting their mental health. No one really wants to deal with a cheating spouse.
No.
Nobody wants to do it. Sometimes you may just be smiling, smiling with it, but it's not something any woman wants to deal with. I was saying this morning, I said this would have been my 16th wedding anniversary if my husband was still alive, you know. And when we're talking about the institution of marriage and other stuff that goes around with it, most women don't know, like you said, that there is a law, there is a name for it. You know, when you've been raped, as in your marriage, um, you've been abused in your marriage sexually, most women don't even know. When you have to go out of your way all the time for the man, when you're not enjoying sex and he is the only one doing that and enjoying it. These are things women need to speak up
Yeah.
and talk about and say, yes, this is it. I don't want to be part of this, you know. So then they need to go for couple therapy or whatever. And that lady, most times, the women or the men involved in this, because sometimes it's the ladies doing it to their husband, you know. Most times, these people, they also have they 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 go through a lot. You get the shame, the PTSD, and all of it that comes with it. And a lot of people don't even know they need to get help. And before you know, you start having anger issues in your relationship. You start having withdrawals, and that is not good. I'm so thankful to you for finding out time to come over. But I'll just ask you like just one question. Like, what is one step that you can take today to claim your worth and begin your healing journey? I'm saying this so you can help share with those people who are out, who are still in this relation. 'Cause I know that's what you do now. You coach people that are in this. So, what's that one step that they need to take right now to reclaim their self worth and begin their healing journey?
Oh, for me, it started with self care. So the world tells us that self care is getting our nails done, getting our hair done, getting highlights, getting pedicures, those kinds of things, that's self care. I contradict that. While yes, that can be self care, true self care is digging deep and doing the healing work. So, um, starting a journal. So, journaling how you're feeling. Maybe journaling 25 reasons you're angry with your husband. Maybe journaling um, about what has happened to you, getting it out of your body, out of your head, and onto paper. So, the doing the healing work is self care. There's a lot of different ways to practice self care. Learning to listen to your body and taking what it's telling you seriously is part of self care. And that's also vital to healing. It's not just pushing instead of stuff. When you need to stop and rest and you're just continuing to push through your day, then you're disregarding your own worth, you're disregarding your own intuition, and you're disregarding your body. And it will eventually force you to stop and rest by by simply crashing, burnout, adrenal fatigue, or it will do it by disease. So self-care is vital to healing, and it can start the healing process. Just saying, no, I'm taking this time for myself. Whether it's going to bed at 9 o'clock at night and getting up at 5 o'clock so you have time to be alone before anyone else in your home is up. I don't recommend staying up at night. You need your sleep. That's another part of self care.
You're right. I just started discovering that, I used to stay like all night. I'm still learning how not to. But I realized that I needed more sleep than working at night or staying awake at night because it can really bring a lot of stress.
Yep. Yep. So a good first step is learning to care for yourself.
Thank you so much. So thank you for joining us today. And I'm just going to give us our takeaways like we always do in this journey. So recognizing your worth is the first step towards healing from abuse. And secondly, I just want you to know that 1 minute, forgiveness doesn't mean that you're forgetting. That I forgive you doesn't mean that I'm forgetting everything. Yeah. It means that you're releasing yourself from the weight of anger and bitterness. I was talking with someone this morning and I was sharing like some experiences because I had an interview yesterday. I was like, oh, I cried. And I talked about certain things in my heart I've never really shared since my husband passed. And I never knew it was really like eating deep into me, but I've forgiven. And it didn't mean that I've forgotten. It just means that it takes away those weight of anger and bitterness from you. And also, faith can support, and support can help you rebuild even when everything feels lost. So, I'll leave you with this scripture as usual, which is Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God, and I will strengthen you and I'll help you in this journey. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand, and that is what God is going to do to you. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I have that like boldly written in my living room. Don't be afraid because God is always there. Whatever step you want to take in this life, just know that He is there to hold you. And also know that healing doesn't mean that the damage never existed, but it means that the damage no longer controls your life. So you need to find healing in your journey. You, when you abused, you're going through a lot of trauma, just know that yes, I have been through it. I need to heal, but it doesn't mean that this damage never existed because there's always a scar that will continually be there. But you take it one day at a time and you begin to receive joy and grace to be able to pull through. Thank you so much, Beth. Do you have any last question for any of our audience like today?
Yes, I do have one last thought, and mine is also has come from Scripture, um, Romans 8:28, and I want to just give you this visual that Father gave me several years ago. So Romans 8:28 says that He is working all things together for our good, for those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And the picture that He gave me several years ago to go with that verse was when we go to a play, we see the actors out on stage in front of us and we see the different sets that they're using for the play, right? But we also know that behind the scenes, where we can't see it, there's other people getting things moved around behind the scenes, ready to come on for a change of scenery for the play to continue. Think of the Lord that way. You're on the stage of your life and you have the different set pieces that you are doing your life around. But behind the scenes, behind the curtain of your life, He's moving set pieces into different places, moving things around. What someone meant for evil, He's moving it around to make it good for you. So
Hmm.
trust in Him, trust that whatever's going on in your life, He is using that and going to create good from it.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you so much for sharing today. I just want to say thank you, y'all, for joining us today because it's been a very beautiful day. It's been so awesome, and I'm so excited because I'm leaving on this note. And I want to encourage us once again to please, as much as we can in this season, don't forget the grieving. So you can scan this code, the QR code on the screen. And when you scan that, it's definitely going to take you to where we can pay, help the grieving family. Or you can go to our website, which is www.grieftograceinternational.org, and you'll see how you can support. There are just a number of ways you can support those who are grieving in this season. Thank you so much. And for you to support our this show, is all that we request from you. Just scan this code and get a copy of our book, A Pen That Writes Grief, and it's a 60-day devotional and healing guide that will help you in your journey. So if you know you're going through any kind of stress and you feel that you need some help, you may be able to win one of my coaching classes. So just send in your DM and say, I need it, I need help, or I need coaching. So when you send that and you talk to me, then we'll be able to schedule maybe 30 minutes and then we go from there. Thank you, because a fresh start is very possible. Don't listen to those that say, no, you need to be stuck where you are. No. The podcast we had this morning, Beth, the lady said something. She said, when one chapter is closed, see it as a second chapter in your life. And I'm saying that because you said something about, oh, I desire to get married. Yes, every woman should be married. And she said one thing, she said, not everyone must live with a partner for the rest of their lives. Sometimes you need to do the little part, then go to another one. Sometimes it may be three, four. Sometimes it can be two. Sometimes it's one. Sometimes it's seven. But at every point in time, it is a season of your life. So thank you so much for joining. So don't allow those shames to hold you back in an abusive relationship, because it is just a season of your life. Have a very beautiful day. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to our channel and talk to someone about Grief to Grace International. Have a lovely day. Bye.